everyone, and welcome to Wine, Wine, and Once, a Once Upon a Time podcast. I'm Dee.
And I'm Lo, and welcome to a bad time.
Oh, it's a bad, terrible, no good time.
Oh, it sure is. So every week we are rewatching an episode of Once Upon a Time in order. We have watched the whole show more than once.
Oh, yeah.
But we are going back. We are trying to refresh our memories. Heads up, this is not a spoiler-free podcast. We are talking about this like we have seen the whole thing, because we have several times.
So many times.
Too many times.
Too
agree. Many times. I had the realization that, like, college was 10 years ago.
No.
And, I mean, and I know we've talked about that
but
before.
Still no.
But it really just kind of hit over the, like, Christmas holiday somehow. And I don't like it. I don't like that we've been watching this show for 10 years.
It doesn't feel great.
No.
That's for sure.
No.
I mean, how does it feel going into a new year knowing we're still doing the same shit we did a decade ago?
New year, same me.
Welcome to 2022.
I'm not making any changes for 2022. I'm just surviving.
Amen.
Cheers to that.
Exactly. Speaking of cheers, what are you drinking?
Cheers.
What's happening? Cheers. What's happening with life?
I have opened up that bottle of red, the unruly red.
And do you feel unruly?
I do. Very unruly. It's quite good. We missed out, but the white was good. So
it was. That was very drinkable, and we drank it. So
we didn't not drink it. That's for sure. But it's all good. We're just, coming back to work after the new year is always really fun. So
heavy sarcasm.
Yeah, can you read that? I know nobody can see my face, but it hurts.
Yeah.
But no, it's all good. So, hence the wine.
One
of us will be having wine. I think that's the goal.
I did have wine earlier, though,
You
to be
did.
fair. When we were watching, I had wine.
We have both had wine.
I think that's our resolution, to actually bring the wine part of Wine, Wine, and Once back to the surface.
Yeah. It was such an integral part of it for so long.
In the planning stage and, just the existence of the show for us. It wasn't ever we have to have, let's get a wine bottle and, do this. It was, I need wine if we're watching this.
So true. And I do think that when we first started, because we were in slow and had such good wine around us, we would just have bottles of wine. There
is a wine, I'm determined to find it still. It was called Once Upon a Vine, and I swear to God.
It's there. It's somewhere.
I've
seen it.
We used to get it all the fucking time.
I know.
Rude.
So rude.
I had a red earlier. I had it's a Barbara wine. No, it's a Barbera, but I call it Barbara because it's fun.
Because it's fun for you.
It is fun for me. It's like a reward. But now I'm having another spicy mango, so you can be unruly and I'll be spicy.
Excellent. Oh, great. That's an excellent combination.
It really is, given what this week's episode is, in my opinion.
That's fair.
It's not a good one.
I mean,
it's a good one. It actually is a very good episode.
It's a good episode of Once Upon a Time, and it's a good episode of television, but that does not mean I like what happens.
Correct. But hey, great news. This is our 10th episode.
Woo!
We made it to 10. And
10!
then it's like 80 listens, not listeners, 80 listens, which is very
super
exciting.
Special.
Yeah. 80 of you have listened to us.
That's
and only like 6 of those are us.
That's too many.
That is too many.
That's still too many. But we're happy you're here.
We are happy you're here.
Don't get me wrong. I'm happy you're here. It's just too many of you.
Yeah. I question your tastes. Why are you here? I know why I'm here. I'm here legally obligated to talk about the show, I think, until I die.
Well, yeah. I did sign that contract with the devil, so...
Mr. Gold?
Yeah.
Oh.
He showed up. It was weird.
It is weird.
There was a lot of fingers involved.
Did he have you sign the contract on his back? Like a cheerleader?
Yeah, and then he plucked one piece of my hair. But from the bottom,
weird.
so it was real weird.
Huh.
Yeah.
Hopefully that doesn't come back to haunt you later.
Well, I mean, we'll just go to Georgia. I'll out-fiddle him. It's fine.
You'll fiddle him. I don't like that.
I'll out-fiddle him. Thank you.
Oh.
The devil went down to Georgia.
I knew that's what you were going for, but I heard I'll fiddle him, and I was like, I don't know what that means.
I already talked about his fingers. Like, I don't know what to tell you.
And we're back. You've arrived.
Back. Yeah. All right.
Should I read the Disney Plus summary because it's insane?
Well, you know how I love an insane Disney Plus summary.
It's never a dull moment. So this episode is titled 7:15 a.m. Do with that what you will. David and Mary Margaret continue to struggle with their feelings. A mysterious stranger in town makes Regina and Emma suspicious. Prince Charming's wedding approaches.
Those were certainly 3 sentences. It's not incorrect. We've had more incorrect summaries.
It's just 3 separate thoughts.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, the big question is, are they semicolons or periods between them?
They're semicolons. You know what they are.
Of course they are.
Disney Plus does this thing where I don't know if it's because the intern, I blame the intern, I'm assuming there was an intern, was told it must be 1 sentence, or I don't know what it is.
There's just so many semicolons.
There are 3 in this one. 3 of them.
It's too many semicolons.
It is. At that point, you have 2 sentences. Don't be afraid of using a period.
I think you could probably do a period after the first 2. Like, you could semicolon them, and then we're done with Storybrooke, and then Fairy Tale Land. That can be its own sentence.
Exactly. But
That's
alas,
my thoughts.
They don't do that for us.
Huh. Someone should talk to them.
I agree.
I'll write your summaries. Right. I mean, they'll be much more sweary, but I'll write them for you.
That's fair. Please do. Speaking of summaries, before I dive into that, everyone take a drink or 5.
Big, deep
get
breath
your
and a big, deep drink.
Yeah, get your wine or your spicy mango, your water, whatever is getting you through this shit show.
Cheers to episode 10.
Cheers to episode 10. Oh,
I
God.
refuse to cheers to 7:15.
No. Well, let's dive into this then. So last episode, we met the mysterious stranger who rode into town on a motorcycle, and we know that that's August, but in the show, we don't know who this is.
Of course.
And this episode begins with Henry questioning him outside of his house. Regina sees this happening and becomes very upset. She is not a fan.
No.
Not even a little bit.
Mm-mm.
But nothing really happens there. She's just like, hey, don't talk to strangers. Leave my kid alone. Bye. We move on to... Yeah.
He has a weird line about, you gotta go to school. You better get to school, kid. There's a storm. Is this Hades town? There's a storm coming on.
I get they're trying to allude to this very big, ominous storm passing through the town. But it's a weird sentence to say to a child.
It's just a weird sentiment in general. Go to school. There's a storm coming.
If there's a storm coming, I'm staying home, sir.
I would like to stay home, personally. That's just my thought.
I think that's a fair thought.
I sure do, too.
So we move over to Mary Margaret's loft, house, whatever it is she lives in. She's overslept, and she's rushing to school, very frantic. She's brushing her teeth and spits in the kitchen sink, which deeply horrifies and upsets me on many levels.
So true.
I recognize a sink is a sink, but no. It
was upsetting. I just wasn't ready to watch the toothpaste.
No, it was the fact that they showed us. It wasn't implied of her running into the kitchen.
You know what? I think I read something I think it might have been on the wiki.
Let's hear it.
I don't remember if it was on the wiki or an IMDb page or something. But I did read that, Jennifer Goodwin brushes her teeth, for real in any scene she's brushing her teeth because it always drives her crazy that they don't have toothpaste in, that women don't have toothpaste in their mouth. So she will actually physically brush her teeth. So she really did just need to spit.
I was going to say I respect that, but now I'm upset again.
We've circled back around.
I do appreciate the detail because I do hate when they make a big deal. Gilmore Girls is bad with this. They'll put a whole fucking plate of food and then no one eats, and then they leave.
Yeah. And I think there are, Gilmore Girls scenes with people brushing their teeth and giving full monologues.
Yeah. No. Oftentimes, I think Lorelai does that, once a season.
Yeah. A full monologue A Gilmore Girls monologue, nonetheless, which is 3 pages long, single-spaced.
Yes.
And they're just like, so.
No. So, I guess...
Fun fact.
That is certainly a fact.
I don't know if it's fun.
But it's there. So, Mary Margaret's rushing. She's, taking care of her toothpaste, and she's telling Emma, oh, I need to help my students with a science fair project. Only no, she's not. She's going to the diner to randomly bump into David. As
so
one
random.
Does. So random. Oh my God, so random.
She definitely doesn't check herself out in the spoon.
No, does not do that at all.
No.
I do wish the book that she's reading were upside down. I think that would have been funny.
Yeah, like a good, she's really bad at this.
Well, the fact
she's
is
flustered.
She's like checking herself out in the spoon, and then once she hears the door opens, because I think the implication is she sees him approaching through the spoon.
Yes,
and like
absolutely
picks up the book once the door opens. The blinds are open. He would have seen that she was not reading until he opened the door.
Right. Which, I mean, like, I guess he's far away. There's no...
I guess.
That's not technically suspicious, but it would have been very funny to have her book upside down.
Yeah.
And not clocked or anything. Like, nobody needs to say anything. It just would have been funny to be like, oh no, nobody's clocking the fact that this woman is not reading.
Yeah, Ruby clocks it, but she doesn't say anything.
Well, yeah.
She sees everything.
Just because, Ruby is the Dolores of it all.
Listen, you're not wrong.
If you haven't seen Encanto, see Encanto.
Go see it right now. Well, listen to this, and then go see it.
Yeah.
So she and David chat, and then he leaves because he has 2 coffees. One for him, one for, his wife.
Of course, yeah. I remember her.
Mm-hmm. But lo and behold, Emma's there, and she sees this and is like, hey, what's going on? And Mary Margaret admits that she's been doing this every single morning because she can't get David out of her head, and she knows that at 7:15 a.m. every morning he gets his coffee before going to work at the vet clinic. And,
sure.
Emma's like, oh, like a stalker. And she says, no, I don't stalk him. I just know every detail about his everyday life.
It's really upsetting.
It is. And
I don't like that she knows where they get takeout.
No, they get Chinese on Thursdays.
That implies, like...
that implies another level of detail.
I accept. I started going, like, I was going to the diner at 7:15. I ran into him, and I've been going back ever since, and we keep running into each other, so I know that's part of his routine. Like, I get that.
Right.
That's
but
fully 100% normal behavior. Why do you know where this man and his wife order dinner on Thursdays?
That's where she also gets her dinner on Thursdays.
Every Thursday.
Every Thursday. I wish...
You know what?
I wish Emma said something like, that's why we get Chinese food every Thursday.
Right? Like, I mean, to be fair, I order the same freaking thing every takeout Tuesday.
Or even, like, a throwaway moment where Emma, like, opens the fridge and there's, like, takeout containers that are Chinese food. Like, that would have been really funny. And a clever Easter egg. Like,
for the bitches like us.
Yep.
Is what you're saying.
For
those of
like
us who pause on screens.
I just need to understand what every single background business is in the show. There's a bread place that's really jazzed about the bread.
I need to know about the bread place.
Fresh baked bread. We have bread. Bread.
Bread. Artisan bakery.
Fresh baked bread.
But we never got to see what the business is called.
Bread.
It's called bread.
Yes. So yeah. Mary Margaret sure does wish she could fix her feelings. Mm-hmm. We're going to leave that there and hop on over to the Enchanted Forest, where Snow similarly wishes she could fix her feelings for...
Of course.
Charming. She knows him as James still. We know that James is the brother that died. Doesn't matter. She's pining over him as well. She's with Red Riding Hood. We call her Red.
She nearly
Ruby.
Kills Red, by the way.
That's true.
She nearly spears her. I don't think I put it in the summary, but
it's important. It's important to me.
Nearly dead.
Yes. So Red shows up and is like, "Hey, it's been a month. Nothing has changed. You're still just moping around. That's terrible." But she says, "Hey, Charming is set to marry Midas's daughter in 2 days' time. They keep doing this. They keep saying 2 days' time."
You have a really big issue with 2 days'
time. The word time is superfluous in the situation. You can just say in 2 days.
Yeah, but then it's not old-timey.
No.
How would we know that they're not in Storybrooke if they didn't say 2 days' time?
Fuck you. That's how.
Costumes.
The wig, the poodle on Snow White's head, maybe. I don't know. There'd be something.
It's fine.
So Snow admits to Red that she's been trying to forget Charming, but she can't do anything except think about him, and she wishes there were a way to forget him. And Red says, hey, I've heard about a guy that might be able to help. So
Sure.
Of course she has.
Why not?
Of course.
Why not?
Because everyone knows Rumpelstiltskin, which is, of course, who she's alluding to.
Of course.
Snow goes on to a lake to meet this man. Shocking no one. Of course, it's Scaly Boy himself.
The Scaly Boy!
We love a Scaly Boy. He surprises her and startles her. No, we hate a Scaly Boy. But he's here anyway, so we may as well get used to him. And
he does a lot of fingers again.
Again, with the fingers.
A lot of the gesturing.
There's a lot. And she shares her problem and says, hey, I don't want to... There's someone that doesn't love me back. And he's like, can't help you. And she implies, no, I don't want to love him anymore. This hurts. This sucks. Take it away. Mm-hmm. He goes, oh, well, then we're in business. Allow me. He makes a potion with some lake water and then just forcibly plucks hair from Snow's head. From the bottom, not the roots. We're just yanking.
Just because, and maybe it's the CSI tech in me, or mm-hmm. I've watched too many crime dramas. But I feel like a part of what's important about the hair is the root, because that's where all the DNA is and whatever. So I just feel like when you yank from the bottom, you're not the hair is just gonna break somewhere in the middle, and you're just coming away with a strand of hair.
Yeah,
not the root. So
we don't know.
I mean, again, it doesn't matter. It's magic. What does it matter? But
it's weird.
It just felt weird because I'm like, that's not how you yank someone's hair out?
No.
I don't know why I have opinions on it.
Why do I have opinions on 2 days' time? We just do.
We just do. Okay. I also want to clock, just in this scene, before we leave the scene, the magical pool reflections that are on all their faces.
Oh, yeah.
There's water, glistening, except it's not nothing is being, the water's not being lit from the bottom, so nothing should be, there shouldn't have the little, lines when light comes through water. You know how, when you look at the bottom of a swimming pool? Yeah. You can see, all the little ripples? And you get those lines when you're in, an indoor pool and there's light that's from the bottom of the pool.
There should not be light in the bottom of that lake.
There shouldn't be anything on their face.
No.
And yet there was, I was just I think this lake smells like chlorine. That's where
it probably does. That's fair. I think that's a fair assumption.
Anyway.
But he makes this... No, it was important. He makes this potion and says, this will make you forget your love. Mm-hmm. And she says, fantastic, what's the price? And he says, oh, the hair that I plucked already. And she has a whole line about, why do you need it? And he goes, what do you need it now that it's not on your head? Which... Fair. Touche. And that takes us back to Storybrooke, where, as we've been told, there's a storm brewing.
There sure is.
There certainly is. Mary Margaret's at the store shopping for batteries and a large bar of chocolate. It's a dumb detail. I'm sure that's not what they were implying, but I know what that woman is doing when she gets home.
I mean, listen, self-care comes in many forms.
It does. It absolutely does. So she's preparing for her little lady date, her me party, if you will, and she runs into Catherine, who drops a pregnancy test on the ground. Whoops. So everyone's having a great time. And Regina, of course, is standing right behind them and sees all of this happen, and Snow kind of
needs to comment.
Right? Of course she does. So,
I feel like she always does this.
She does. Like,
there's situations that would be fine.
She makes them worse.
And then she pokes at them and is like, let me just make it worse.
Exactly. Because, like, Mary Margaret was very clearly not going to say anything. She kind of just handed it back, and Catherine was like, oh, yeah, like, not sure yet. Bye, and kind of runs off. And Regina just stares at Mary Margaret and goes, I assume you'll handle this with discretion. And, like, makes some, like, snide comment like that as if Mary Margaret
it was a concern.
Yeah, like, Mary Margaret was going to go and be the town crier, like, pull a grumpy and yell it out to everyone. I don't know.
I would like that.
I would
like that very much. But
all I would like from her from now on.
Yeah, town crier Snow White.
Yep, precisely. But we leave that there, not knowing if Catherine's pregnant or not, but zipping on over to the Enchanted Forest again. We do a lot of back and forth again in this one.
Yeah.
We don't really sit in one spot for very long.
No.
So we enter on We enter on King George, who's James's dad, and he's telling David Charming that he knows that he's in love with someone else, but he has to end it. You know, he has to marry Abigail. It is what it is.
And he has a weird line.
He has a lot of weird lines.
I know. But I tried when I write the like layout of the episode. I try not to put in like any lines or anything. But, I was really upset at the line where David's like, basically, you got your way. I'm gonna do what you want. Whatever. Like, it's fine. And he goes, but I want your heart.
What?
It's an insane thing.
What a maniac.
What a bonkers thing to say.
Well,
I want your heart.
And it's important to me and to Lo that we all clock that in this monologue, he also says, he implies, like, because of this union, our kingdom is being saved. So we're reminded that there is a deal here that David must keep his end of the bargain on. This is going to be important, and I think you should write it the fuck down.
Right. It's very important that you write it down because, please remember, David is getting married because James was supposed to marry Abigail to create a union between the two kingdoms, between this kingdom and Midas's kingdom, so Midas would give them a lot of gold. We're ignoring that Midas has an economy-wrecking power.
Listen.
They want the gold. It's supposed to, literally, I think George says, this union makes sure we can feed our kingdom for the rest of all time.
Yes, he does say that because David makes a really weird comment when the crown is bestowed to him of like, oh, this could feed people for a week. And he's like, shut the fuck up. This marriage will feed everyone for life. Put the damn crown on. It's insane.
It's bonkers.
But yes, so we agree that David has to do this so his mother lives.
Correct. Right. There was an outright threat.
Yes.
It wasn't implicit. There was an outright threat to his mother's life earlier.
And it's being referenced again. It's being referenced again by bringing up this deal of like, this is a union that we had to follow through with. Right. You have to do this.
You have to do this because if you don't, people will not only starve,
but die.
But your mother will die. Correct. I will have your mother killed was the threat.
Yes.
And it was outright stated.
It was. So he's having this, cute heart-to-heart with his fake son and says, whatever you're feeling for this other woman, you have to end it. Mm-hmm. So Charming does what any sane human does, and he sends a dove with a letter to Snow saying that he loves her and asking her to meet him.
Sure. Okay.
And if she doesn't, he'll know she doesn't love him. He's getting married in 2 days.
What? So, your husband wasn't sending letters via pigeon 2 days before your wedding?
Nope. Oh, weirdly enough. Very weird.
Strange.
Which, fine, I understand you love her, but again, what is your plan? Are you going to just elope and then let your mother die?
I have so much to say about this, and I'm going to keep a pin in it for right now, but I need you to know that I am seething, listeners. Good. Dear listeners, I am seething.
Good. Hold on to that anger. we are going right back to Storybrooke. And Mary Margaret's on a walk in the woods, looking all sad and forlorn, and she finds a dove that has been trapped. So sad. She takes it to the animal shelter / vet.
Yeah, Storybrooke's weird.
Because David says, I work at the animal shelter, but it seems to be a veterinary. Yeah.
It appears to be a vet.
It's very odd.
I mean, I guess it's a small town, so maybe they just have, like, it's
animals.
Hey, all of the animals are in this building.
There it is. Of course, since he works there, she runs into him. Fantastic. Right. The vet tells her that, hey, this bird is fine, but doves mate for life, and these kinds of birds are migrating, and if she can't
Only
get back...
this made-up dove.
Yeah.
This is a made-up dove. This is not a real type of dove.
Yes.
But it's monogamous.
Yes.
I know that.
They say that, which is a weird thing to say about a dove. Can you tell they're trying to paint some symbolism here and show us a pattern that perhaps Mary Margaret is also a dove that is monogamous and lonely?
I, too, am a dove that is monogamous and lonely.
So, yes, he says, if it can't get back to its flock, it will be alone and miserable forever. And this strikes a nerve with her, so she's like, fuck it, I'm saving this dove. Sure. And David's like, hey, don't do that, there's a storm. And she stares at him and says, no one should be alone forever. Or something really pitiful like that. Very pointed, very much like...
Yeah, like, hey...
I'm emotionally attached to this dove now, you can't stop me.
I have emotionally identified as this dove, and it's very important to me.
I am this dove now. But enough of that, we're going back to the Enchanted Forest.
Of course.
Speaking of doves, Snow gets the letter delivered via dove and pretends to be bringing a basket of flowers to the wedding in order to sneak into the castle. Mm-hmm. And just before she can talk to Charming, and she kind of sees him and it's like, okay, this is going to be great, this is going to be great. She's caught by a guard and taken to a dungeon.
Like the badass Snow always is.
That's insane, because they painted her to be this, badass, can do anything. Captured immediately.
Oh, yeah.
Also, I feel like people would know her face. She did not disguise her face at all.
At all.
Ma'am, you are the princess. Ma'am.
On it or something.
Ma'am, you are a princess of some kingdom. I don't quite know how the kingdoms work here.
Just put some dirt on your face.
Right?
Don't just have a pale, clean face that is the mugshot.
Nope.
But okay, whatever.
So anyway, she's taken to a dungeon, and that's where she meets Grumpy. Amazing. So yeah, she meets Grumpy, and he tells her about trying to get his love, a diamond, but it turned out to be stolen, and he was arrested, and it's very tragic and also bullshit, because this is not Grumpy's backstory at all, if I remember correctly.
I would like to, put a pin in this, and I want to come back to this clip when we reach the dreamy episode.
I swear to God, he's not arrested. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I blocked
I think
that out.
He is arrested. I do think he gets in trouble. He gets in trouble. I remember that part. I remember him getting in trouble. But I don't think that all of the details match up to what we are told.
No, I'm not going to try to speculate, because we will speculate when we get to that episode. But I'm pretty sure this is all incorrect.
I know there's partially diamonds, but I think there's more pixie dust involved.
Right? It's something about her giving up all of her pixie dust, and then he doesn't, and then he breaks his handle that says Dreamy, and now he's Grumpy.
Right.
I don't know.
She turns him down once she does. I feel like it was more like once he lost power, she turned him down because she was kind of a terrible person.
I don't remember. I have no recollection. I do.
I
don't.
Only minorly recall this, and I feel like we watched it kind of recently.
Yeah, we were probably drunk.
I think it might have been the day with the cabin.
Oh no!
I do think it might have been that day.
That was a good day.
Might have been the day we were Skyping in.
Listen, It was a good choice. So
great choice.
He leaves her with this little sob story, and she's like, you won't be able to get out. The steel grows stronger as we grow weaker.
Weird thing to say.
Yep. But hey, an 8th dwarf arrives to save the day. Stealthy.
The stealthiest of all the dwarves!
God, we love Stealthy.
You know he's stealthy because he's wearing a beret.
Yes, and all black
and
leather.
It's black.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So he breaks in and frees them both. Well, first he frees Grumpy, and then Grumpy's like, yeah, all right. Well, back up. He frees Grumpy, and they're walking away, and Snow, all sad and like forlorn, goes, good luck. I hope you find what you're looking for, or something stupid like
that. Your love. She says something about your love.
Yeah, and he's like, oh, motherfucker, fine, let's get this bitch out of here, too. Let's go.
Mm-hmm.
And they're running, headed for cover. Stealthy does not stay with us long, nor is he very stealthy, because immediately he is killed in the escape, and then Snow sacrifices her freedom for Grumpy's life. A lot happens in a very...
They are literally about to behead that boy.
Yeah. There's a lot that happens in, 28 seconds.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Mm-hmm.
Moment of silence for Stealthy.
Pour a little out. Take it. Cheers to self.
Cheers.
I can't even say it. Cheers to Stealthy.
He was not the stealthiest of us all, but he certainly is the deadest.
He certainly is the stealthiest of all the dwarves. Considering that Grumpy is the town crier.
The show is insane. So, with that sacrifice and Grumpy not killed, we go back to Storybrooke. Mary Margaret is still on her quest to find this dove's family or true love or whatever it is. And she cannot drive any further because the road is blocked. Remember, there's a storm brewing.
Of course, the storm's a-coming.
The storm is a-coming. So she continues on foot as the storm grows even stronger. And thunder crashes overhead and it frightens her. And she just kind of becomes a walking infomercial and falls, tumbles, and then slips off a cliff.
She truly does. I mean, it is...
There's a long fall where she could have stopped herself, and she just keeps going.
Or done anything. And it is, a walking infomercial is correct because, the thing I always think about with infomercials is that usually an infomercial has to demonstrate to an able-bodied person why something that's made for someone with a disability would be useful to them.
Mm-hmm.
So then they just become the most incompetent human beings in the world because an able-bodied person is able to perform this task.
Yes.
That's not who this is really for.
Yes. Precisely.
Something about this, the ground gives out from beneath her.
Yeah.
For no reason.
No,
she jumps hard enough at the thunder and lightning and she's on the edge of a slope, so the dirt pushes out from underneath her, which sends her tumbling.
We just don't know.
For so long.
Right?
And over a cliff edge.
Yep.
Like a really tall cliff edge.
Where is Storybrooke? I will say we do see this cliff edge many more times, so I do like consistency.
That's fair.
This is the cliff edge where we see Cruella die.
Pour a little out for Cruella. The best character they've ever done.
Love her.
Love her so much.
So she's dangling. We do. So Mary Margaret is dangling for dear life, and just in time, lo and behold, David shows up to save her.
Because of course he does.
Yep, and he pulls her up. And it's like, I wouldn't let you stay out here in the storm. And she kind of stares at him and goes, bye. And is determined to take care of this dove situation. And
she Bruno leaves.
Yep, she wipes off her hands on her pants, stares at him and goes, bye.
Again. May I insist you watch Encanto?
Yeah.
It is part of the language now.
Yes, this is now part of our vernacular. You must understand it.
Mm-hmm.
Go watch it. But it starts to downpour, and he convinces her, let's take shelter. Look, there's a cabin.
There's a sexy cabin.
It is a sexy cabin. It's great. They break into it, and he makes a weird comment like, oh, your roommate's the sheriff. What's she gonna do about it?
Her job, one would hope.
One would certainly hope. So they get to talking, and it turns out that they are both going to Granny's at 7:15 every morning to see each other. So they've been playing this game, not realizing the other has been doing it as well. And they almost kiss, but Mary Margaret stops it and is like, hey, how can you do this when your wife might be pregnant? And David's like, whoa, what the what? Hold the goddamn phone. He has no idea about this pregnancy situation. And they have a little conversation about how she's hurt and this hurts her and she doesn't want...
All very fair.
Basically, she's already reiterated all of this, but she says it again of like, hey, like, it hurts me to be around you.
Right, and she's saying it this time, like, super directly. Like,
this
I care about you, and this is hurting me because I want to be doing the right thing.
Mm-hmm. Precisely.
And the right thing is not for this to happen.
Correct. But in the middle of this conversation, the storm stops, so Mary Margaret gets to go to release the dove while David follows her like a puppy.
Sure.
And he says it feels like he has two lives, one with her and one with Catherine, but only one with her. Only the one with her feels real. And like he tries to hold her hand as the dove is flying away, and she's like, "Dude, what did I just tell you?"
Because
could you stop?
He doesn't listen.
No,
he's a bad person.
He is a bad person.
He's just a really bad person.
Yeah, just a bit. So now we fast forward over, and Regina is talking to Emma and saying, hey, you need to find out who this stranger is and what he's doing here. And Emma says, well, it's not illegal to visit here, even though you would like it to be. It's not. People can visit. And Regina says, no, you're going to because he's talking to Henry, and we both care about Henry, so you're going to find out why he's here. And Emma's like, yeah, fair enough. I'm going to find out why he's here. And again,
look, that... very good on Regina's part. Mm-hmm. Like, that was, oh, this woman's gonna leave this man alone. Yeah. I need to figure it out. Here's a pressure point. You're going to go figure it out because I know what you care about and it affects the thing you care about.
Precisely.
And that works.
It does not take her long to find this mysterious man. He's in the diner, as is everyone at any time, it seems. Mm-hmm. And she asks him about this box that he carries, the one that was on the back of his motorcycle. Now it's sitting on the ground by the table. And the stranger says that if he kept the contents secret, it would drive her crazy. And that he like drags it on and on, like, oh, you just want to know, don't you? I'm sure you would love to know what this is. Mm-hmm. And I'm just never going to tell you. And then finally he's like, all right, I'll show it to you if you let me buy you a drink. And Emma is like, okay, fine. What's in the box? And it's a typewriter. He's a writer. Good on him.
So, I as we were watching this episode, I told you I clocked the energy of this man, and I know what this man is giving right now.
What is it?
Would not tell you what
you wouldn't. It was driving me insane. What is it?
This man is giving Jughead Jones from Riverdale. I'm weird. I'm a weirdo. Have you ever seen me without this typewriter? That's weird.
Oh, no.
That's weird, right?
Oh my god.
It's Jughead Jones from Riverdale. It's that monologue because he's just like, this is weird. I'm a weirdo. I don't fit in this town. This would drive you crazy. I could let you like dangle. It would drive you nuts. I'm weird.
So upset.
Am I wrong? No. And they're sitting in a diner, which is like a thing on Riverdale. And I only know that because I read Archie comics religiously, not because I watch Riverdale.
We should watch Riverdale. That show sounds like it's not doing well.
I need to watch Riverdale.
I need to watch it.
Feels like it would be right up our alley.
Oh, absolutely. So yeah, he's a writer.
I will say, I miss Ominous August.
Right? I wish we kept this up longer. He turns mopey and sad. Real quickly, as soon as he starts turning to wood.
As soon as he starts turning into a child.
Listen. So he's a writer, and he gets up to leave, and Emma's like, hey, what about the drink? And he just goes, sometime. Very aloof.
Right.
Very fun.
I said sometime. Didn't say now.
Nope. Bye. Back in the Enchanted Forest, Snow White is brought to King George, and he knew about the letter Charming sent because she dropped it.
Mm-hmm.
Because she suddenly forgets how to be a stealthy
person.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And King George says love is a disease and insists that she tell Charming that she doesn't love him. Otherwise, he's going to kill Charming. He's really into the killing people, it seems.
Listen.
Which is fascinating. Okay. We know he won't kill Charming because he needs Charming to marry Abigail.
He's playing 4D chess.
He's on a different level.
Everyone else is playing pinball. He's playing 4D chess.
Yes. And, rightfully so, Snow was upset by this and was like, you do this to your own son. And George is like, it's not my son. Which is funny because he's not.
It's true.
So that's
not
fun.
Not his son.
Not his son. So Snow follows his directions and tells Charming that she's not in love with him before leaving, and it's very sad. She cries. She also lets him pick her up and twirl her around, which is not the energy someone would give off if you did not love them. If she actually didn't love him, she would have been like, whoa.
Get all the way off of me.
Yes. But no. So she is in the woods leaving, and the dwarves find her again, and they're grumpy. It's like, we all lost someone today, so stay with us. And she goes to take the potion that Rumpelstiltskin gave her, and Grumpy's like, no. Suffering is what makes you who you are. Maybe someday you'll take this, but not today. We're going to get through this.
A lovely sentiment.
Yeah.
It's a nice moment.
It is. And it does answer Regina's question from last episode of when did she start gallivanting with dwarves?
Cavorting.
Right then. Cavorting, that's what it was. Yes, that is the word.
I only remembered because you remembered earlier, but
I did.
Cavorting is such a good word. We should
use
it more often.
We should. Back in Storybrooke, David and Catherine are finally talking about, stuff that has come up, and he prods something is wrong. What aren't you telling me? And she's like, I took a pregnancy test and I'm not pregnant. And at first I was sad, but then I was relieved because I realized we're not ready to be parents. And she's like, hey, can we go to therapy with Dr. Hopper? And David's like, yes,
anyone
absolutely. Else. Yes. First of all, anyone else.
Anyone else.
Don't go see Dr. Hopper.
Anyone else. Go consult Mary Margaret and it will be better.
Yes, truly. And he agrees and is like, yes, I want to work on this. And he says, you know what, let's skip coffee this morning at the diner and have breakfast at home. I'll make us breakfast. It's going to be really great.
I have so many thoughts on this.
I know.
Moment. I have so many thoughts.
I can't wait to hear them all.
Please put that in your journal and write it down.
I will. It's written down. Don't worry.
Thank God.
So back at her place, Mary Margaret is sitting at the breakfast table and just staring at the clock, watching it go past 7:15, and Emma's kind of watching her, realizing that she's, forcing herself to break that habit and not see David that morning.
Mm-hmm.
Good for her.
Yeah.
Yeah. In the Enchanted Forest, Charming looks for Snow White in the woods, and he finds Red, and Red's like, yeah, she's gone, dude. She never came back from going to respond to your letter. Never bothered looking for her. She's just gone, I guess. And he vows to find her because he will always find her.
The charming way.
It's the charming way. In a cottage somewhere in the woods, Grumpy rushes to tell Snow White that the marriage between Charming and Abigail has been called off. So that means his mother is dead, right?
I mean, one can only assume that was the terms and conditions.
But when he sees Snow in the bed, it's revealed that she's taken the potion and has completely forgotten who Charming is.
I need the listeners to understand that I'm massaging my forehead because I am so mad about this. Not the taking the potions. Take the potion all you want, sweetie.
Forget whoever you want. You do you, boo.
Yeah, you're doing great, sweetie. The rules were you marry Abigail or your mother dies. So I guess David's just like, okay, LOL.
Mom,
bye, Mom.
Mom,
you lived a healthy, full life.
Bye. You know what, Mom always told me to marry for love.
I'm gonna.
Bye.
It does come at the cost of your life, but, you know.
But you want what's best
your
for
life
me.
for a little love?
Listen, it's fair. And
I just...
back in Storybrooke, which is where we will end things off in this episode, Mary, Margaret, and David run into each other. Even though they both tried to avoid the diner at 7:15, they go at later times, and they both had the same idea.
Whoops.
It's like fate or something. Crazy.
Oh, funny. Funny how that works.
Right? And she's like, what are you doing here? And he's like, avoiding you. And she's like, that's what I'm doing. And, David's like, oh, BT dubs, Catherine isn't pregnant. And then I guess she gets really turned on and they kiss in broad daylight.
Broad daylight? In the middle of the street.
Anyone could see them. And
including, in fact...
And Regina does see them. She's just sitting in her car like the Watcher or something. Like, I don't know. Just sitting there observing everything.
Observing? Just,
hanging out. So they're making out, and that's how this episode ends. Gonna drink.
Tango's gonna drink. Bravo. Wow. Lot happened. This, I will say, is a plot-heavy episode, and it is, it's important. Yeah. It was an important episode. We needed this episode.
This is a catalyst for the whole maybe Mary Margaret killed Catherine plot. This is a catalyst for the town not trusting Mary Margaret, for them eventually being together.
Yeah, and it's not a bad episode of television. For all we nitpick and for all we go in on the show to be like, well, you said this one thing, but now you're showing another. I know we do that because it's fun.
Yeah.
But on the whole, this is a fun episode of television. It's important to the story.
It is.
We need to have this episode. I don't have any faults other than... Obviously, Ominous August gives off Jughead Jones,
which is
vibes. He is the proto Jughead, I suppose.
I guess.
I don't know. Literally, we sat down and we watched that scene, and I was like, what is happening here? Why do I know this person? And then I, the crown, the little weird crown beanie flashed into my head, and I was like, oh my God, it's Jughead. It's Cole Sprouse, everybody.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
No, we needed it. We absolutely needed this episode. Nothing we got was particularly extraneous.
Well, I'm realizing this is one of their first non-character reveal episodes. We've had a lot of episodes of, guess the character. Here is a backstory on this character. These are all established characters in this episode. We have nothing that we're trying... Well, except for August. August is a mysterious character still. But we're not solving it. We're not solving it in this episode. That's not the purpose of the episode.
We're getting a little more information, but we're not solving it.
Exactly.
But if you think about it, if you think about our plots, aside from the Emma and August stuff, so you've got two plots. Because they're kind of our C plot.
Yeah.
So we've got the A plot of Mary Margaret and David are going to start this affair.
Yes.
And this is the beginning.
And definitively it is happening.
This is the start. This is where we're at. We are no longer in flirting around each other and trying to stay away. No, we're in it now.
Yeah.
And then the B plot is, how did Snow White meet the dwarves? Which, again, I know it doesn't sound like it's important.
It is important to me because Regina also had that question.
Well, it's one of those things where you're like, no, we needed that. We need to understand why these characters who help her out continuously care about her. Why are they here? So, I mean, and we don't get a ton of the after of, like, why all of the 7 would be caring about her, but at least we get, here's how they met. We get Grumpy stepping in and, like, why they kind of have, especially in these first few seasons, I feel like they very much have a kindred spirit thing kind of going on. I wish we had gotten more of it throughout the show.
I think we deserve it, though, like, exactly because of that established, like, in the animated movie even, Grumpy and Snow White do have that very different dynamic than everyone else, and I think we needed more of it. I needed more of it.
Well, and I like it so much.
It's so good.
I think the actors have a really wonderful presence on screen together. Mm-hmm. I think they feel like they're friends.
Yeah.
They care about each other. I want more of it because I want to just see more of these people having a good time together.
I think that's fair.
And I do think of all the things, and I think this is down to actors. I don't necessarily think it's down to writing. They do have a relationship that feels very lived in. Mm-hmm. Even when they're cursed, you can tell, like, because I know, like, we're going to head towards the Light Festival, or, like, the Winter Fest, the Stars Hollow Winter Fest.
Ha! Yes.
And all of the candles and all of that. And we get to a point where it feels like, oh, I don't know why I want to help this person.
But I do.
And they feel like friends.
Yeah.
And I do wish we'd gotten more of Leroy or Grumpy. We get a little more of Grumpy, I think.
Leroy we just use when there's a curse we need him to scream out.
Correct. Yeah, he is our town crier.
I love that journey for him.
But I would have loved more of just him being around and supporting Snow a little bit more.
Yeah.
Because he feels like, in this episode and in a couple more, he feels very much like her right-hand man. Yeah. Like, and I love that, because like you said, that's kind of almost the vibe we get from the animated Snow White.
Obviously, I'm annoyed 14. By you, but I will do whatever I can for you.
Yeah. And I like that vibe. So I wish we'd gotten more of it.
I agree. Mm-hmm. So I think the main thing we both want to talk about is the David Nolan in the room.
I don't want to talk about him. He's so annoying. He's a bad person.
How many times does this woman have to establish boundaries and say no?
He's a bad person. He's a bad person. And I know that, yes, Snow White or Mary Margaret is saying no, meaning yes. Mm-hmm. I know she's pulling that, and I know that we are in 2011, so that's still, like, kind of a thing that's in play, is that idea of saying no, but meaning yes.
But I don't like it.
Is incorrect.
And she's not saying a no to mean yes. Like, she is very, like, she's saying, I'm hurting, I am sad, I am upset.
Right. She's saying I'd say yes if you would say yes, but because you're saying no, leave me the fuck alone.
Exactly. And she's said the same thing so many times. Like,
so many times.
The reunion episode, the Welcome Back David episode, when he shows up and she's like, you need to stop. There's a few other times we've ranted about it in the past.
She does it in the hospital when he's like, I don't remember anything about my past life. And she's like, yeah, but
you have one.
You have one, and
then at the troll break,
you should figure it out first.
When he's like, meet me there, I love you, and then he meets her there, and it's like, I remember Catherine, and she's like, fuck you.
Right. And to me, I'm like, okay, she takes the chance, right? She says, okay, I'll meet you there because
you're saying you're leaving her.
I do care about you, and you're saying this has a future, and then you said, no, it doesn't. So you've said no. Now it's time for, and again, I understand and recognize the thorniness of, I'm not over you, I still want to see you, I want to go at 7:15 to see you.
He wants to have his cake and eat it too, is the problem.
really frustrating. And just in how this show frames it.
Well, I think it's made even worse. I mean, one thing, he was just giving Mary Margaret this treatment, but he's doing the same thing to Catherine. He is turning to her and saying, I want to make this work. I want us to work. It's hard, but let me make us breakfast. Let me stay here.
That's the part.
Like, that's where it gets shitty.
Right. No, it would be one thing if he's just not putting in the work at home and just kind of hasn't said. I mean, it's still terrible. But it's if you just haven't kind of admitted, like, hey, this isn't working, but I'm also not putting in the work at home. Mm-hmm. And when my wife is telling me about things that are upsetting her, I'm already checked out.
Yeah. But he's, like, listening and attentive and
fully commits to her. Yes. That's the part that drives me nuts.
He's like, let's go to therapy.
Of this episode, he's like, we'll go to therapy. Sure, I want to make this work.
Let's have breakfast at home. I'm here. This is us. Let's go.
I'm going to try. And then half an hour later, literally half an hour later, this man goes to a diner, meets his mistress, because that's what Mary Margaret is at this point, and makes out with her in the street.
Fucking insane.
But
the show will have us watch this and go, true love. He is a hero. He is choosing love over what he thinks he has to do. Wow, look how great he is being.
Right. I just need it to be framed as a bad thing. That's all I need.
It would be such a more interesting narrative to, like, have us still rooting for him. Because I understand we need him to be, like, pseudo-likable. Yeah. But have it be like, you're kind of being shitty. And then Catherine disappears. And it's like, oh, shit. Oh, shit. Did he kill her? Did she kill her? Oh, my God. Like, it can get really dicey and interesting.
Number one, absolutely yes. That would have been amazing. And if you think about it, like, what Mary Margaret and David are doing is the modern, more personal equivalent of what David does to Abigail. Mm-hmm. Right? It's not as like, Mary Margaret and David are much more physical about it and much more like, and they get into the weeds a little more, which is fine. Like, they can, because they're in modern times. We spend more time in Storybrooke. I get that that's part of the story, but it would have been interesting to do, like, okay, like, here's the heroic sort of, I think we forgot that Mom's supposed to die.
I hope they address it and I've just forgotten. Like, I hope there's a thing where, like, because Abigail, because I know there's a plot where Abigail loves someone else.
Yeah, Abigail does
because she left him, it's nulled. Like, it's a moot point. Like,
I don't know. I hope so.
I hope it's addressed.
I would think if you cancel the wedding, that man, who, again, we're going to see is like a
he's an asshole.
Murderer. He's a cold-blooded murderer, if you'll recall. Mm-hmm. Because Ruby doesn't murder her boyfriend in Storybrooke. No. He does. I'm pretty sure.
Pretty sure you are correct.
So he's like a cold-blooded murderer. So I think if you called off the wedding 2 days before it was supposed to happen,
doesn't matter the reason your mom is dead.
Right. Like, he just seems very vindictive.
He doesn't seem the kind to be like, oh, okay, well, if she called it off, then it's fine. You should have convinced her. It's because you weren't all the way into it. It's because she didn't think you loved her. This is your fault. He doesn't care about details.
No, I don't think he cares at all. So that, to me, I'm like, it still would have been, it would have been interesting, even if we kept it framed the same way, even though that annoys me. Like, even though I'm annoyed at the fact that we seem to have forgotten that Mom's supposed to die. But even if we kept the Snow White and charming of it all as, like, the heroic paragon version of, look, true love is not going, like, true love cannot be separated. True love is unassailable and it cannot be stopped. And here's the heroic version, and then we take it over to Storybrooke where there's a curse, and we've corrupted it.
Yes, it is the bastardized version of what should be.
Right, and now it's hurting people because there are other people involved.
And if you're really going to go down the path of Emma's the savior, have her be the one that intervenes and make it not shitty and hurting people.
Right.
Done.
Once upon a time, writers from 11 years ago, call me back.
We just solved the whole series.
I guess we did. Yeah. It's so terrible.
Like, and there are some episodes where they really do have, like, a dichotomy almost of, like, here is the normal version and here is this fucking thing.
Mm-hmm.
But they're trying so hard to make this, like, a true parallel of, like, oh, look, they're finding each other. They have found each other. And it's unrequited love, but it's not. But they love each other. Look at them loving each other.
It's really frustrating.
I wish there had been a Storybrooke equivalent. I'm trying to think of how they even do it. Like, equivalent of, like, her forgetting him in the Enchanted Forest. Like, is there a way that they could have done something like that where it's, oh, see, they're following a similar path. They are doing something very similar.
Right. I just feel like they have so many
Or I guess that was the amnesia. That's his whole amnesia thing.
But, I mean, it's not her amnesia, but...
But they're kind of opposite roles. I was thinking of this. So in Storybrooke, or in the Enchanted Forest, he's the one that's like, I love you, I love you, I love you. And she's kind of the one that's like, not today. Because obviously we know it's because King George is being a dick. But still, like, she's having to kind of, like, change the rules and switch things around. Whereas in Storybrooke, he's the one that's like, yes, no, maybe, I don't know. I'm going to drag you along and it's going to suck.
True. I just find it very frustrating that at no point are we given any sort of reference in the narrative other than than Mary Margaret saying, this hurts me.
Yeah.
You're hurting me, which is a very upsetting thing to hear.
It sure is.
But at no point does the narrative frame what David's doing as over the line, as uncomfortable, as not what you should be doing. Because it would be one thing if he was doing all of these things and also getting, like, a punishment almost. Not a punishment. I don't want to be Hays Cody about it. But, like...
if there was some sort of, like...
repercussion.
Exactly. Like, just something where it's like, oh, or even if he's like, I crossed the line. That wasn't okay. Like,
I'm sorry.
Like, not even someone calling him out, but him realizing, hey, you said for me to stop and I didn't.
Yeah, it's upsetting. Like, and I do have to remember, it's 2011.
Ugh, gross times.
We are all terrible about
everything.
No meaning, no is still not a new concept. I don't want to say it's a new concept, but... Like, do you remember we had, like, posters in the dorms?
Yes.
That were essentially, like, no means no.
Like, we had to be taught that. That was not an inherent knowledge that we had.
Right. Like, as girls, we had to be told, like, hey, your no means...
Yeah.
No. It's not something that can be, like, wound around.
No, if you're saying no, that's a no.
That's a no. And so it is very, like, so I have to remember... that these people weren't writing with 2021 in mind, where I'm like, no, your no is a no.
Yeah, fuck all
Flat
the way
out,
off, David. Fuck all the way off.
Snow White, Mary Margaret's first no should have been, okay, we're done. If he's the hero character they want him to be.
And they still could have had it where they run into each other, but don't have him being the one. Like, have it truly be they're running into each other. Yeah, because he admits, oh, I've been following you too.
Right.
Have it be true happenstance where have her be like, oh, fucking, okay, he's at the coffee shop in the mornings, fine, I'll go to this place, and then he's there too, like, mother.
Right.
Like, have it be where they're having to do some work where it's like, oh my god, I'm trying to avoid you and you're everywhere.
And you're everywhere, and it's just fate that keeps happening, because then it does feel like
they're trying. They are respecting.
They're really trying to live their best cursed life.
Because it could even be then, like, she's like, oh, fuck, this injured bird. She goes to the vet and then goes, motherfucker,
of course you were here. Like,
I thought you worked Tuesdays.
Right, like you weren't supposed to be here today. But of course you're here today. Okay. And then we would get to this end part, and I'd go, okay, it still doesn't feel great because he still has this wife.
Yeah.
And
just cut out the scene about agreeing to go to therapy.
Just don't do that.
Like, cut out that. If they went with the whole, they're running into each other purely by happenstance, it is not intentional on either side, they wouldn't have to have the whole conversation about, let me make you breakfast at home today, because he's already trying to actively avoid Mary Margaret. Right. It wouldn't be like darling, things have been hard for us, let me make us food together.
I don't like that the scene before we flash to this diner where we are going to start this full-blown affair. The scene we have is, hey, I really see a future with you. I want a future with you.
I want a family with you.
And I thought maybe I was pregnant. And when I took that test, I was upset because it was negative. And then I realized, oh my God, what a relief, because we're not solid.
Yeah.
I would like to make this a solid relationship.
Well,
and then he goes, you know what? Me too.
Yeah.
And then half an hour later, he's in the motherfucking street.
Right.
It's baffling how the show never portrays, I mean, like, they get a little punished. They get a little punished for this because people are mad at them when people find out.
Yeah.
So I guess they're a little punished for it, but
not really.
It is wild to me.
Well, no.
That no one, like, that nothing about the framing says what they are doing is morally wrong.
Correct. And to that point, the only person that is told, hey, this is morally wrong, is Mary Margaret. She is the only one that's treated like garbage.
Of course. David is fine.
Someone writes slut on her car, I'm pretty sure. Whore. It's whore. They write whore.
Is it whore?
I think so.
Yeah, it's like, it's somewhere. She absolutely has some
scarlet letter
slur written on her, on one of her possessions. Very large.
Hester Prynne over here.
Oh, yeah. Because it's her fault.
It is.
She didn't
Even though
try.
she said no 75 times.
Right.
The show makes me so angry.
It's so angry. And again, this was a good episode of television, and it needed to, all of the things that happened in it needed to happen. So,
except for the agreeing to therapy part. That whole scene could have been, it could have been is, I thought I was pregnant. At first I was sad, but then I was relieved. We wouldn't, we're not ready to be, we wouldn't be
good parents
right now. I agree. End scene.
Right. End scene. Right. Other than that one scene though, but plot-wise, everything that happens needs to occur. I get that. So, on that front, it's a really compelling episode of television. I did not have many notes.
No, I just had that.
Of course, Bread Artisan Bakery.
Bread Artisan Bakery.
I do have one very important question.
Oh, no.
We open in Storybrooke.
Uh-huh.
I think it's after. So I guess it's not technically opening in Storybrooke because I think we start with August on his motorcycle. But after August, we swap over to the, Mary Margaret and Emma household.
The toothbrush scene.
Television. Yes, the toothbrush scene. But there's a very small cubic television. But here's my thing. It's on the Weather Channel. Who is the weather person in Storybrooke? I just want to know.
Okay, cast your votes. Who's the weather person?
Cast your votes. Who's the weather person? Because someone is talking, and I don't think we see anybody. But there is someone who is giving a forecast for Storybrooke, which means that Storybrooke has a television station.
It's Bert. Winds in the east.
Oh my God, I need to go write the fan fiction.
Oh no.
Brilliant.
But also, that would have been an awesome Easter egg if it was just winds in the east, mist coming in. Big storm in Storybrooke. There's a big storm coming to Storybrooke.
Oh my god, that would have been amazing.
That would have been that would have appeased the Mary Poppins people. Oh, good.
The three of us there are.
The three that frowned that were, for whatever reason, hoping that Mary Poppins would show up, but also glad she didn't.
Okay, listen. 10 years out, very glad she's not there.
In the moment, we were like, we had whole plots on how she could have been there.
We sure did.
Find them on an AO3 near you. Actually, I don't think they're there.
Nope.
Those live in our heads only. And in our hearts.
Pour a little out.
Well, I don't have any other notes. We do have some housekeeping.
Oh, God, we do have housekeeping. Okay, on my front, obviously, we get the confirmed kiss on the fuck fern.
Woo! Right on.
From David and Mary Margaret, but of course, they are still with Snow White and David, so...
Not on the family tree.
It's not really... They're hard because their curse personas have now officially kissed, but they're already... Well, I guess technically it is the first, real kiss we get from them.
True.
So, on the fuck fern, we do have their first confirmed kiss, which is great.
That is great.
No new information to add to the family tree, and nothing on the fuck fern other than
Confirmed
one
kiss.
Strike for August and Emma doing weird flirty things. But
Weird
of course,
flirty things.
the rules are
3
before
instances.
they need 3 instances. Yes, 3 instances of weird chemistry that before we will call a line on the fuck fern.
Amazing. Unless they have a kiss or something else.
Right, no, obviously.
This is just...
The lowest bar is, a weird sexual tension.
Had they had another scene together, they probably would have fucked or something. That kind of vibe.
Exactly.
So, on my list, magic bean count, nothing. Town curses, final curses, whatever you want to call them, nothing. The lie count, though. The superpower. This one hurts. This one hurts because I didn't clock it at first. We went back, actually, to rewatch a scene for something else, and Lo was like, oh, Emma caught a lie, and I said no. But she did. So what happens is Mary Margaret says, I'm going to go work on a kit. I have to go to school for the science project.
At the very beginning of the episode.
Which is an outright lie. She's going to Granny's diner. And Emma doesn't say anything. But she shows up at the diner and says, science fair project, which is implied she knew that was bullshit and followed her right there and was like, the fuck are you really doing?
She absolutely stalked this woman because it doesn't even seem that she came through the front door. So that's really upsetting.
No, she's just there. She was there already. Somehow.
She was in the laundry room.
Finding her clothes that she hung up there 9 episodes ago.
It's not wrong.
Returning the clothes she stole.
Oh, good. Well, at least she's returning them.
Right? So that, unfortunately, brings total instances of the superpower to 12, at least ones that are noticeable that we clocked. It has failed 8 times and succeeded 4.
What a superpower.
It's super.
4 out of 12?
Yeah.
1/3 of the time she succeeds.
You're doing great, sweetie.
33% of the time she succeeds.
Oh, she's not doing great.
She's not great. Just before we pop off, I've shown this to you, but I do need everyone to know that in my notes.
Oh, this is good.
R.E., the hand-holding scene.
Yep.
And the kissing scene, but really the hand-holding scene in particular was what really got to me, because at this point she has said, this hurts me, we need to stop. I have in all caps written 2 lines wide.
It's pretty impressive.
David, she said, no, you fucking asshole. And also, remember your possibly pregnant wife. Because he knows at this point.
God, what a sentiment.
And then he's over there like, hold my hand.
You wanna hold hands? Is this
What
good
if
for
we
you?
held hands and released a dove in the park?
White men are weird.
I don't. The audacity of the man. You can tell he's white. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I'm still really upset about the fact that you shared Josh Dallas's beard with me.
Oh. If you guys don't follow Josh Dallas on Instagram, you should, first of all.
Mm-hmm.
His birthday was like, well, by the time this episode airs, it will be like 3 weeks ago. But he posted a picture, and I think Jennifer Goodwin did as well. But he has a full beard. And she's like back, all of her pregnancy weight's finally gone. She's back to tiny, petite, cute. Does not look like she's aged a day. And you have fucking Grizzly Adams over here.
I'm not upset about the gray in the beard, though.
No.
Like, the beard itself is unkempt, and I need him to fix it.
I have to think it's whatever fucking show he's in.
He's doing, isn't he, like, in Manifest?
Yes.
Like, aren't they reviving Manifest for, like, one more season?
Yep. So I know it's for that.
I hope it's for that.
I'm not mad at the Silver Fox vibes. It's like when Timothy Amundsen became a Silver Fox, and I was like, oh shit.
Love Timothy Amundsen for many reasons, but yeah, he did get a little gray in the sternum book.
Oh.
As he says.
Yep.
That worked out.
That did work quite well.
That worked out. I don't like that now I like clock a little bit of like silver in the hair and I'm like, that's a man.
Nice. That man would treat me right. God, fast rewind to like 2 hours ago. Before we clicked record, we spent like 30 minutes talking about which men in Encanto would treat us right. So again, go watch Encanto.
Go watch Encanto. It's not Bruno.
Bruno is a good person. He would not treat you right. That man needs therapy.
We love Bruno. Bruno deserves the world. He would not treat you right. He is not healed enough to treat you right.
Correct.
Felix.
He would treat you right.
He'd treat you right. I need to stop.
This has been a bad time.
Such a bad time.
Oh, I have really great news, though.
Oh, good.
It can only go up from here.
That is such good news.
Thank God for that.
Have a wonderful week, everyone.
Yes, and we will see you next time.
All right, bye!
Bye! Alright, I apologize in advance for the quality of this. This is Dee, and I'm too lazy to get my whole recording set up. But as you may have seen on social media the other day, Lo and I posted that we're going to be doing a kind of listener episode thing where we want to hear from you guys and all of your lovely questions, fan theories, tidbits, characters, whatever it may be. So definitely please submit to that. Our email is winewhineandonce@gmail.com. So I'll put it in the description for easiness, but wine, W-I-N-E, wine, W-H-I-N-E, and once. But yeah, we're looking forward to hearing from all of you. Bye!